I've had the Xero Shoes Prio for almost 3 years, and I've worn them for just about every type of activity. How did these minimalist shoes work out? Are they durable? Did they trash my feet and knees? Or could they have even made small children laugh? Well, we're going to talk about all that and more, and I'll give you my honest opinion on these shoes so you can decide if minimalist shoes are for you. Plus, I will share with you one thing I never thought would happen as a result of wearing these shoes. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fitness Roadmap, where we help you navigate the path to lifelong strength and health. If we haven't met before, I'm Mark Sinderson, and it's good to have you here to talk about the Xero Shoes Prio and what I've learned about them after having them for almost 3 years. Let's dive in. I purchased these shoes in May of 2022. Now, that's coming up on 3 years, so that's why I say 34 and a half months. Now, many of the activities I've done in this shoe has been walking. I've done a little running, maybe about 5 or 6 miles worth of running over those nearly 3 years. But I bought them primarily as a walking shoe and then also as a activity shoe. I use them while working out and wearing pretty much everywhere, everyday stuff, shopping, travel, driving, pretty much the whole time. They've become daily wear shoes for me, along with the Z-Trail EV, which is one of their sandals. And I wear these a lot in the warmer months, especially. Here in Atlanta, I can wear these probably 9 months out of the year. Now, total miles on the Prio right now are somewhere between probably 750 and 1,000 miles all in. I was logging the shoes I was wearing pretty religiously in Strava for the first year or so that I had these shoes, and then I lost track of tracking the shoes. But going back through here the last week or so and looking at all the activities I've done, all the walks, I was wearing these the majority of the time. So I'm thinking that after 3 years, I've got at least 750 miles on these shoes, especially when I add in just the around town wear, wearing on the weekends. Pretty much I've worn these everywhere that I haven't had to wear dress shoes pretty much for the last few years. And I think they've held up pretty well. I'll talk a little bit more about the durability of these shoes in a second. But first I want to talk about the comfort of these shoes. Now these are minimalist shoes. They are zero drop. In other words, there's no drop between the heel and the toe, and there's really no padding. There's just the rubber sole on the bottom, which is about 4 millimeters thick. They did come with an insert in there. I took that out, and I'm just down to, I've used them just with the, basically just a very thin pad and the outsole the entire time I've had these shoes. And I haven't had any issues. They're very flexible. They move pretty much in every direction that your foot moves, which is the goal of these shoes, is to provide that ground contact and connection to the environment as you're out walking. So super, super comfortable. No complaints at all. As you can see, they've got a nice wide toe box, which allows your feet to, your toes to splay out instead of being squished together like they are in many running shoes or other athletic shoes or dress shoes. These have a super wide toe box that allows your feet to spread apart kind of as they would naturally if you did not have shoes on. So very, very comfortable. These are pretty much everyday shoes, and I've worn them for, like I said, every activity from the gym to going shopping, walking. Like I said, I've run a little bit in them, but primarily from running. I'm using my traditional cushioned running shoes for running. But for everything else, the Prio has been the shoe and been very, very comfortable. Now, as far as durability on this shoe, these are very, very durable. If you take a look at the sole, there's a little bit of wear back here, and this is the right shoe. So on the outside right, and a good amount of wear in the forefoot area. But one thing I have noticed in wearing these shoes, minimalist shoes, is that my stride has changed over the years. I've become more of a forefoot landing as opposed to heel striking, and I think that's a great benefit. But durability, these have been very, very durable. I've worn them in all kinds of weather. I've gotten stuck in a lot of rainstorms when I've been out walking. I've worn them through the winters here in Atlanta. Very durable. The sole still has quite a bit of life in it. These are the original shoelaces. Shoelaces are still the original ones. They haven't broke. They're a little frayed on the ends. The inside is still all together. The one thing that is happening is that the sole is starting to come unglued a little bit from the heel, but this is after 3 years of almost daily wear. So I really can't complain about that. There's still some life in these shoes. I'm going to continue to wear them here probably for another month or so. I'm going to get a new pair of the updated version of these called the Prio Neo, which they're in the process of rolling out right now. So very, very durable. I cannot be happier about the durability of these shoes. Perfect, good use of money. They've lasted very, very long. Now, as far as the benefits of this type of shoe, the main reason I got these minimalist shoes is to hopefully build the strength in my feet, make my feet stronger, build my arch, all the benefits that go with walking barefoot, but having some protection from, glass or stones or that type of thing. And these shoes have provided that. And what I have found is when I first got these shoes, it took a little while to get used to the fact that I was walking barefoot essentially, so I had to modify my stride a little bit. But after the first couple of months, I noticed a big difference in my feet. My toes started to separate. If you were to look at my feet now, there's actually a gap between the toes where before there wasn't. After 30 years of wearing traditional running shoes or athletic shoes, my feet had gotten a little compacted. They've now spread apart, which has been great. My feet are stronger, and I just feel healthier as a result of that. My balance is better because I've had more time contacting my foot with the ground. My stride is better. I've transitioned on my regular walking to be more of a forefoot striker instead of pounding the heel in. I've kind of tended to land right on the middle of the arch or the way the foot is designed. And that's helped a little bit even in my running stride, even in traditional running shoes. My stride has gotten a little bit better. So my feet are stronger. My feet have gotten kind of back to more of their natural state. Balance is better. I've got more feel for the ground around me. So when I'm lifting weights or out walking, I'm in a lot more contact with the environment, which is great. Now, there are some cons to this shoe. The biggest con for me is the looks, and it took a while to get used to them, and I'm completely used to them now. But if you look at these, they don't look like normal shoes, and that's mostly because they got this super wide toe box, and so they've grown on me a little bit. But they don't look like normal shoes. And the first one of the funniest things I noticed is after I'd had these shoes for a few months, my niece and nephew visited, and my niece looked at my feet and laughed at these and said they kind of looked funny. And I kind of had to laugh with her a little bit. And then I showed her my Injinji toe socks, which have a pocket for each toe, and she even laughed more. So yeah, the looks are a little non-traditional. But more and more people are wearing these types of shoes, so I think it's becoming a little more accepted. But that was the biggest con for me, was they didn't look normal in my after all my years of wearing regular shoes. But I've gotten used to it, so that's really the only con that I've come up with. The durability has been great. The comfort has been great. They've met the requirements of why I bought these shoes, so no complaints there. Now, the biggest surprise I've had from wearing these shoes comes from my wife, who has always, ever since I've known her for almost 40 years at this point, she has always worn, full supportive shoes with inside arch supports as much as possible, and claimed for all these years that she had to wear shoes even indoors or her feet would hurt. And after I had these shoes for a few months, she noticed, when I did, that my feet were starting to return to their normal state. The toes were splaying out. I was saying, hey, my feet feel stronger. And she was finally had to convince herself, and she said, I'm going to go ahead and give a pair of these shoes a try. So she started out with a shoe called Splays, which I think is it's another company. They make kind of tennis shoe looking minimalist shoes. And she started wearing those around the house and doing short walks. And after a few months, she didn't feel the need to wear shoes in the house. Her feet have gotten stronger. And last year, she bought a woman's pair of the Prios. So that was something I never thought, that she would switch from regular shoes to minimalist shoes. But she wears minimalist shoes the majority of the time, and she doesn't wear shoes in the house anymore. Even when she's lifting, she does not wear shoes. She just walks around either barefooted or in socks, and her feet are stronger, and she feels a difference. So these things work. So my final recommendation is, if you're looking to try a minimalist shoe to see how your feet get along with it, how your body gets along with minimalist shoes, I would highly recommend you give minimalist shoes a try. And the Xero line of shoes is definitely one to check out. The shoes I've had from them, my wife has been using her Prios, are very durable, they're comfortable. They seem to be a good value for the money, and they provide the benefits you're looking for, which is stronger feet, better balance, all those things. So definitely check them out. In the description, I do have a link to I am an affiliate with Xero Shoes. It doesn't cost you anything, but if you do use that link and end up trying a pair of Xero shoes, I get a small kickback from them. No cost to you, but it does help the channel out here. But I bought these shoes with my own money. They've never sent me anything, and I'm very, very happy with the Xero Prios, and I'm looking forward to trying the Xero Prio Neos. So hope that helps. Check out that video I did, my initial impressions of the Xero Prio a few years ago. That'll be up here. And leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried minimalist shoes? Have you had luck? What have your experiences been? What shoes do you like? What shoes maybe did you have a bad experience? Let me and everybody else know what your experiences are with Xero Drop or minimalist shoes in the comments below. And until next time, hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. And until then, take care, enjoy the journey, and be well.